Hi, today we are here to talk about the top 5 tips we want companies to be paying attention to as it relates to cybersecurity. I'm Jodi Daniels, privacy consultant in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm joined with my good privacy consultant friend,
Cat Code, and I'm here in Ontario, Canada.
Awesome. So tip number 1, Kat, take it away.
Awesome. So tip number 1, we're going to talk about technology and tools, is access control. So you wouldn't give away the same key to your house to 100 people. You would only give it to people who you want to have access to your house. So we want to make sure with your personal information and important company data that you are actually using access control. You want to limit the number of people who can access different kinds of data and different kinds of systems. And you can do that by permission. You can do that by identity. There's all sorts of different ways to do it, but make sure you have some form of access control, especially with your confidential or private information. Tip number 2, Jodi.
Tip number 2 is to have a strong password. Nowadays, it is recommended you don't need to have all kinds of strange letters and numbers and mixed symbols. Actually, a password phrase, something that you'll be able to remember that is long, is a really good suggestion for a strong password. Now, if you have a really awesome strong password, what you also want is tip number 3, which is that you want to also use multi-factor authentication. Some people call it MFA or 2FA, but it's that idea where you get that extra one-time passcode that comes maybe to a authentication app like Authy or Google, or to your email, or to a phone number. The app is the best idea. Those two together make a really strong ability to defend your account against a bad actor. Kat, tip number 4.
Tip number 4 is everyone should be using encryption. Most of the services and tools that you get these days will have an option to use encryption if they don't use it by default. Using encryption is the difference between sending a note in class from one end to the other that anyone could stop and open and read, and sending a note in code so that if somebody actually reads it in the middle of class, they don't know what you're saying. And once it gets to the person on the other side, they can translate it in that code. So when you are setting up systems, again, that are transferring any kind of information, make sure you are using encryption to transfer. And if you can use encryption also to store your information in your databases, that is awesome. And tip number 5 is always check your vendor security. Jodi and I talk about vendors a lot because people set up these great security systems and then they bring in tools or third parties or vendors that don't have the same level of security. And what you've basically done is brought in an entranceway into your company. And if it's not secure, then you're not secure. So those are our top 5 tips for tech and tools for cybersecurity. And we hope if you have any questions that you post them below and we will get back to you. Thanks.
Thanks for joining.